Welcome, welcome, one and all. I'm Will the Beast, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the death battle between Blade and Buffy. So, when it comes to these two iconic vampire slayers, I'll admit I probably know a little bit more about Blade than I do Buffy, but I'm still excited to see who will come out on top. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, no way. Is this going to be a live action fight? Oh, I love these. They did a live action fight for Nightwing versus Daredevil, and also, who was it? It was Red Hood versus the Winter Soldier, and they did excellent with those live action fights. All right, now I'm really pumped. Here we go.
Blade versus Buffy.
The Daywalker versus the Vampire Slayer.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. They are known by many names. Revenant, Vortala, Nosferatu.
Vampires. When the moon is out and the night is young, these undead demons are out for blood.
Fitting then that the greatest foe of those who stalk the night is the one who can walk the day, Blade.
Is that really his costume?
Hang on.
Now there's a man who doesn't file his taxes. Blade is one of the coolest superheroes ever, and basically kickstarted the comic book movie craze.
And yet, he is also seemingly the only one who knows or cares that in the world of Marvel, vampires exist. Seriously, nobody talks about this.
Blade doesn't need anyone's help. He'll just aura farm by himself.
Even Blade's birth was hardcore. Just as the young Eric Brooks' mother was in labor, her attending doctor turned out to be the vampire Deacon Frost.
And he drank her blood right before she gave birth.
This infused Eric with Frost's vampiric blood, turning him half human, half vampire. A Dampier.
Giving him a ton of vampy powers, but none of their weaknesses like garlic, holy water, or sunlight.
Eric would hone these abilities under the tutelage of vampire hunter Jamal Afari, sharpening him into a blade that would rape the vampire plague for good.
Blade is strong and fast enough to toss around 1,000-pound demons and cut bullets out of the air. He can keep up with Wolverine, who can deflect Cyclops' light-speed optic blasts, and his Kevlar DuPont armor helped him take the top of Count Von Stott's castle exploding.
He can heal small wounds immediately and sniff out the supernatural with his hypersenses. Also, his fangs can drain his victims of magical energies.
After studying the ways of Hong Kong Kung Fu movies, Blade became a master martial artist. Ah yes, the Rufus from Street Fighter School of Kung Fu.
While the only martial art he's been stated to know is Krav Maga, we know he's mastered more. So for the full scope of his martial arts ability, we'll examine the Blade movies as performed by Wesley Snipes.
I didn't know he had magical energy siphoning. I mean, blood-sucking fangs, that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, the rest of these make sense. I didn't know he could siphon magical energy, though. That's crazy.
By looking at Snipes' training and choreography, we know Blade uses Kung Fu, Capoeira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Eskrima, Kickboxing, Shotokan Karate, and Hapkido. Add on Blade's knack for stealthy takedowns, and I guess you could call him Marvel's Batman.
Blade's training progressed smoothly until Afari was attacked and had his blood drained by Dracula. Seriously, Avengers, Dracula is real. Why aren't you doing anything about this? He's right there!
Forced to murk his surrogate dad, Blade would have to wage his war alone.
Nursing a wound within him that would never heal. A hole that could never be filled.
Not with that attitude. Blade took a page out of the Book of Boomstick and tried filling that hole with every kind of weapon imaginable. He's got so many, they're his apartment decorations.
Handguns, assault rifles, and explosives make up the brunt of his firepower.
Hold on a second. What the heck is boy thing? Oh, he's got adamantium swords? I don't know, you guys. I may not know a whole lot about Buffy. I know she's a badass in her own right, but my boy Blade kinda got it going on. Anti-hypnosis goggles. Oh, so that's what they're for.
That is the purpose of the goggles.
and he enjoys getting up close and personal with his dual acid-etched titanium katanas.
Speaking of glorious Nippon steel, he's got a sword made out of adamantium.
Specifically, secondary adamantium, a variant of the metal that is mass-producible.
It might not be quite as strong as Cap's shield, but it can cut right through heavy hitters like Ultron and the Hulk.
Naturally, Blade has even more swords. His Atlantean ones can slice through magical enchantments. The Word Sword can harm intangible demons, and the Justiciar can slay fallen angels.
Yeah, he's got some weird stuff he can pull out of his ass, like a Hellfire shotgun that burns your soul, or hypodermic needles filled with vampire blood. Seems kinda dumb to turn people into vampires, but it does make them more vulnerable to Blade's arsenal.
All that pales in comparison to the arch weapon of hell in Blade's possession, the breathing gun. It is a living firearm that hisses in the presence of demonic forces. Its sentient bullets chase its victims down. The wounds they cause cannot be healed, and if they get lodged in your body, they'll slowly devour you from the inside out. They can even hurt Hell Lords and even greater threats like the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Blade took everything he had and fought his one-man war for almost 100 years.
He's battled hordes of vampires while skydiving, infiltrated the Pentagon, and even took on Spider-Men like Miles Morales, who could absorb the energy of a bomb that could destroy Harlem. Blade's even bested the Spirit of Vengeance, Zarathos.
And while he occasionally allied with teams like the Avengers, he prefers to work alone.
I probably would too if they only cared about me when I was helping them and not ridding the world of, vampires.
That, and Blade is scared of what he might do if he loses control.
Block gunfire with his nunchaku. I could see that. Harmed Cosmic Ghost Rider with the breathing gun. Sure, why not? Fought a horde of killer geese with Deadpool. Why didn't we get to see that in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Because he does have one classic vampire weakness, a thirst for blood. Blah.
Even more so after he had a daughter, Brielle, whom he avoided for fear of endangering her. If his bloodlust does overwhelm him, he will enter a berserker rage, skyrocketing his strength at the cost of his sanity.
Though it does make him even better at killing vamps. He's made a cottage industry out of whooping Dracula's ass.
Dracula is unsurprisingly powerful, capable of summoning a thunderstorm that covered all of Boston with a wave of his hand.
Drac apparently didn't hold a grudge though, since he eventually made Blade the sheriff of Vampires, a vampire nation in the ruins of Chernobyl.
Amazingly, Dracula has even given Blade some of his own blood, which allows him to shapeshift into multiple forms, like a wolf, a horde of bats, or a cloud of mist.
So he can force his way inside your body and blow you up from the inside out, Ant-Man style.
What is with you with the Ant-Man? Blade's hatred of vampires is only matched by his hatred of himself. However, when Brielle showed signs of vampiric powers, Blade finally found a reason to reconnect with his daughter, training her the same way Afari trained him a century prior.
Even after Blade was possessed by the first vampire ever and tried to take over the planet, Brielle put her dad's teachings to the test, saving both him and the world.
And proving that Blade's lonely war need not be so lonely anymore. With his daughter at his side, and also this plant creature pet called Boy Thing, let Marvel's vampires
Boy Thing.
beware. For should they indulge their unnatural urges, they will be sure to meet their end at the tip of his blade.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
For thousands of years, a new Slayer would be granted incredible powers, and was destined to die young in battle against evil, passing their powers on to the next Slayer, and the next, and so on. That is, until the newest Slayer would change everything, Buffy Ann Summers.
Not exactly the first girl you'd think is the savior of humanity. Buffy's only goals in life were, in her own words, graduate from high school, go to Europe, marry Christian Slater, and die.
But that would all change when the Watcher Merrick appeared and revealed her destiny.
Like, total bummer.
Merrick trained Buffy in the arts of vampire slaying, and she became so efficient that she burned down her school. Whoops.
Forcing her and her mom to move to Sunnydale, California to start a new life, far away from any more bloodsuckers and bad makeup.
Unfortunately, small problem, Sunnydale just so happened to be right on top of a hellmouth, where the boundary between Earth and Hell is permeable.
Yeah, that sounds like the Valley, all right. Along with new Watcher Giles, Wallflower Willow, part-time bad boy, part-time sad boy Angel, magical retcon sister Dawn, and Xander. Buffy and her Scooby gang would battle a never-ending series of monsters.
And we mean truly never-ending. Sure, there's the TV show, but Buffy has also been slaying vampires across video games, comics, and 128 novels. Tens of thousands of pages of Buffy lore you've never heard of.
But we're just crazy enough to speed read them all.
Buffy carries a variety of anti-vampire weaponry. There's wooden stakes, of course, sometimes dipped in gorgon venom that can turn you to stone. Though she's also experienced with axes, swords, quarterstaffs, holy water, just about anything.
M136 rocket launcher. Okay. Olaf's hammer. The little snowman from Frozen. Glove of... Yeah, I can't even. It hurts just to think about it. So not too shabby so far, not too shabby.
You said it! When she fought an ancient demon unable to be killed by any weapon forged in his time, Buffy introduced his stupid ass to the 20th century!
She's also a master of Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, karate, kung fu, wushu, tai chi, kendo, capoeira, and taekwondo.
Buffy apparently thinks Hong Kong's kung fu movie masters could learn a thing or two.
No kidding. Thanks to her Slayer senses, her reflexes are fine-tuned enough to dodge close-range Gatling gun fire, lightning bolts from the sky, and even beams of light. She's kept up with another Slayer, Faith, who can dodge laser beams from point-blank range.
Buffy's strong enough to bend rebar, punch this 4.5-ton bat monster into the air, and, smash hard enough to tear apart a building.
And despite her lack of armor, she can survive massive explosions, like the one that destroyed Cephrilion's lair that's bigger on the inside.
She can even fight blindfolded, but if she is injured, she heals fast enough to be totally fine by the next episode.
Alright, here we go. Superhuman resistance to hypnosis and mind control. Okay, so she just has that naturally, doesn't need the goggles. Soul manipulation and memory manipulation. Ooh, that memory manipulation might come in handy if she can get past Blade's defenses. Maybe she can use that on Blade with, like, something with his daughter, which is a really low blow, but this is a death battle.
One time, Angel sucked out almost all of the blood from her body, and she survived. Doubly impressive since Angel's blood draining also drains magical energy.
Yeah, Buffy's own magic makes her weirdly resilient to esoteric attacks, like when she expelled this misty shadow demon trying to possess her body, or when she resisted her soul being ripped apart and scattered across time.
Or that time she jumped into a vat of boiling liquid so hot it could reduce people to skeletons, and she was just fine.
She might not show physical scars, but she sure has emotional ones. Being the Slayer put a huge burden on Buffy's life.
Unable to live normally, she felt isolated, forced to internalize the trauma she faced on a daily basis. Sure, she had friends, but they couldn't understand her unique struggle.
Like when Angel turned evil after he took her virginity and tried to destroy the world. Must be one of those metaphors.
Sometimes the worst enemies are the ones you can't fight, and who don't fight back.
Made even worse by her having all the memories of the other Slayers bouncing around in her head, dating back to the Stone Age.
Buffy has dreamt of every battle a Slayer has ever fought, and can call upon those skills in a fight, even subconsciously.
But this includes the memories of their deaths. Countless women violently dying young, a reminder of her inevitable fate.
A fate that came to pass when she fought the Hell God Glory. After leaping into Glory's reality-ending interdimensional hole,
A glory hole, if you will.
Buffy sacrificed herself to save the universe, dying a hero's death.
It appears my glory hole joke was poorly timed.
Finally freed of her unfair earthly responsibilities, Buffy's soul ascended to heaven in perfect bliss. Until her friends brought her back to life in the agony of existence!
Oh.
This absolutely crushed Buffy, and ironically, annihilated her will to live.
Oh, that's rough, Buffy. But with the show renewed for more seasons, she had to nut up and continue her endless crusade against all things Spirit Halloween.
Buffy's battled for 48 hours straight, defeated vampires immune to traditional vampiric weaknesses, and destroyed the Sword of Sano, which caused the Great Hanshin earthquake.
And of course, both Buffy and her friends have defeated countless immensely powerful demons.
Like the Queller Demon.
Lifted Olaf's enchanted hammer. So is Olaf's hammer like Mjolnir? Definitely no pushover, that's for sure. And I am definitely learning more about her than I ever knew. I didn't know there were 128 novels.
Which arrived as a meteor and caused the Tunguska explosion, which destroyed over 2,000 square kilometers of forest. Or the Sorrow Demon, which caused a storm that blanketed Los Angeles.
She's also a match for Angel, who survived a blast that could rupture a continental shelf, and took hits from Whistler, whose magic contained a bomb that could vaporize London.
She even faced off against the First Evil, literally the embodiment of all evil that predates reality itself.
Forced into battles against stronger and stronger baddies, Buffy clearly needed something to even the odds. The, Slayer safe!
It's actually a Bardiche.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna say it. This thing is bullshit.
Containing the essence of Buffy's Slayer powers and created to defeat ancient demons, the scythe can deflect magical projectiles and slice through just about anything. Ghosts, magic, even space itself, destabilizing reality in the process.
Counterpart to Excalibur, forged to kill old ones, cuts through magic, space, and ghosts. The scythe conceived a child with Willow in the novels, don't ask. I won't. Magical wards against theft and power removal. So, even if Blade manages to bite her and suck out her blood, would this prevent her powers from being removed, since they're magic? The more I learn about these characters, the more questions I have. Because I went into this thinking, oh, Buffy might be a little outmatched by Blade, but I don't know, this is looking pretty good.
Even Silas, the devourer of worlds. Kinda like Galactus, but instead of chomping on planets, he eats the multiverse. And there goes his head.
The scythe is easily the most powerful tool in her arsenal. In effect, attaining it completed Buffy, as though it were a piece of her she never knew was missing. With the scythe, Buffy was finally whole. Being the Slayer was no longer a burden, but a purpose.
And by sharing her Slayer powers with thousands of girls around the world, they all teamed up and kicked the First Evil's ass.
Suddenly, the always isolated Buffy had thousands of shoulders to lean on, a sisterhood of Slayers.
And thousands more reasons for any wannabe demon conqueror to stay away from Earth. Because unless you want to get your blood all over her stylish yet affordable boots, you'll steer clear of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a live-action death battle!
Of course. It's been a nightclub, isn't it? Oh, that doesn't look well. What's for the vampires? So where's the daywalker? Very Lost Boys. Here we go.
Kings, long before they had a name for kings. But now, starved, hunted, forgotten. You have waited long enough. Tonight, we remember who we were. Tonight, we take back what was always ours. Tonight, we Beast.
Daywalker.
And she. That's just the start.
Here we go. Ash Williams over the shoulder. Ooh. Come on, Buffy, get in the game. Here we go. Ooh. Only two perfect. Dude. Ooh. He ain't gonna be the next step Some light bomb. No. Hey man, respect to the DJ. He went out with style. Ooh, demon. Oh, so that's what starts the fight. Here we go.
Dude's just a kid.
Not anymore.
Might need something else. Ooh. Dang. Okay. The choreography of this is amazing.
You out your damn mind?
Oh, not the toilet. Oh, gross. Nope. Here we go. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Yeah, she got the glasses off of him.
Amateur hour.
Cause I was some motherfucker trying to ice skate uphill.
Had to hit us with the line. one in at least.
Another sword.
I see you cut through adamantium.
Bring it on.
How's this gonna go? Ain't no way. It's not over. Is it?
It's like you got ahead of yourself.
No way.
To be Blade tenued no longer. I'm surprised. I figured with Blade's many years of comic book history, he'd have the edge.
Believe it or not, Buffy is actually in more comics than Blade.
Really? Man, Blade can't catch a break.
Let's break this down into 4 categories. First up, stats. Buffy's lifted much heavier things and survived more significant explosions.
Like, sure, Blade's strong and all, but he isn't literally fucking buildings apart like Buffy.
Scaling to the monsters they fought, compare Dracula creating a storm that covered Boston to the Sorrow Demon creating a storm that covered Los Angeles, a city over 5 times larger. You might be able to compare Blade to Spider-Man like Miles, who absorbed a bomb that could blow up Harlem, but that's significantly weaker than Whistler containing a blast that could wipe out London. They could both dodge light beams, but that doesn't keep Buffy from taking the overall edge in stats.
Blade's used to being the odd man out, though, so his versatility is just as important.
With Blade's numerous powers and massive arsenal, he certainly could have overwhelmed the more straightforward Buffy.
Machine guns and magic swords are generally gonna beat out crossbows and morning stars. Not to mention, he actually wears armor.
Also, Blade's faster healing factor and immunity to traditional vampire weaknesses kept Buffy on the back foot for a time. Blade wins versatility.
But when it comes to skill, Buffy's got plenty of experience fighting armed opponents barehanded.
Both of them were masters of a similar number of martial arts.
And Blade has been kicking vampire ass for a century, way longer than Buffy's even been alive.
While Blade may have more personal experience, Buffy's ability to draw on Slayer battles dating back to the Stone Age, at least 40 times older than Blade, gives her the superior skill. Even then, they both had weapons and abilities so powerful they could end the fight instantly, regardless of all else.
They're trump cards. Fortunately for Buffy, she actually countered almost all of what Blade could throw at her.
Withstanding Blade draining her energy with his bite? Check.
Resisting the Hellfire shotgun destroying her soul? Check.
Preventing Blade turning to mist and exploding her from the inside out? Check.
Meanwhile, Blade had no way to survive, say, Buffy's Gorgon venom turning him to stone.
And even with the deadly, just plain gross breathing gun, Blade did not have anything as potent as the Slayer sight. It could easily deflect the breathing gun's bullets back at him, or use its space-cutting ability to slice through his unbreakable adamantium sword.
Don't believe us? Even Wolverine's adamantium skeleton was cut in half when a portal closed on top of him. That's the same kind of thing.
And Wolverine's beta adamantium skeleton is a much tougher version of the same metal.
Oh, and since the Scythe could kill Silas, a multiverse devouring god, I think you could take down Blade with a big enough swing.
Giving Buffy the final advantage over the Daywalker.
Really thought Blade had a chance, but Buffy sure put a damn fear on things.
The winner is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All right.
Next time on Death Battle.
We got that. Something?
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Man, that was awesome. I know I say that literally every single video that I do, but for real, that beat my expectations. Man, Buffy blew that out of the water, which I had no idea she was in more comics. 128 novels still? Like, I knew Blade had been fighting vampires longer, but story-wise, it makes sense. Buffy has more experience story-wise. That and, I don't know, her arsenal, everything just, it's stacked up, and wow. I really thought Blade was going to take this one, but I was wrong. I stand corrected. Well, that was a superb death battle, superb live-action fight, and just an excellent matchup for Spooky Month itself. Alright, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you all have a great-tastic day. Stay feral.